fans there, and then back to the NFL and the absolute madness. The Charm City change-up, where the league is still buzzing about the Ravens backing out of their trade agreement for Max Crosby. Yesterday, Baltimore GM Eric DeCosta addressing the reaction to their stunning decision, and if the real reason was just flat them getting cold feet.
I understand how people might, maybe from afar, would feel that way, but nobody's more upset about this than me. Gutted by it, actually. And so a regret, big regret for me, but we will move on as a football team.
How do you view that any concern may impact the business with other teams, other players, other relationships, whatever kind of impact it might have when stuff can break down? There's obviously guys who fail through this.
Yeah. Well, it hasn't stopped my phone from ringing, I'll tell you that.
Right. Yes, nothing was going to stop his phone from ringing. Okay, so let's start with Schefter here. I was surprised, just sitting at the relative distance from which I sit on my couch, paying attention to what's being said on social media, at the amount of vitriol yesterday that I saw being slung in the direction of the Ravens in general and Eric DeCosta in particular. Schefter, you were talking to literally everyone inside the league. What kinds of things were you hearing?
Yeah, there are some front offices, teams that feel a certain way that the Ravens didn't do right. But the fact of the matter is, and we discussed this yesterday, when you're making an investment that sizable, 2 first-round draft picks, tens of millions of dollars to the player himself in guaranteed money, you want to make sure that your doctors can examine that player's knee. And when that happened, the only ones that have access to that information are the Baltimore Ravens. They were planning a celebration. Max Crosby and his wife were flown to Baltimore. He went through the physical. They were going to dinner that night. They were going to finalize the trade. And when the doctors examined his knee, the Ravens could not and did not feel comfortable moving forward in the trade, and that is why they backed out of it. So, do all these people who are questioning the Ravens have access to that medical information right now? Yes, there are teams that say it's bad business. That's fine. They can feel that way. There are teams that could say, we're not going to do business with the Ravens anymore and not trade with them. That's their prerogative. But this was the information that the Ravens had in their hands with the examination of their doctors and other medical opinions who reviewed the scans, and they did not feel comfortable moving forward in the end.
Yeah, I mean, again, like, you're going to get the sort of anonymous griping that was around yesterday, but I mean, to DeCosta's point, like, it's not good. Teams aren't going to refuse to do business with the Ravens because they backed out of a deal. Like, teams are going to do what's good for the team.
Right.
Agents are going to do what's good for their client. Like, it's not. It's an unfortunate and awkward situation, but it was not against any kind of rule. And if in fact what happened is they got cold feet, then that's within their rights too. But I think to Adam's point, like, the man had surgery on his knee. It's certainly plausible that the doctor got a look at the knee and said, you can't do this, for 2 first-round picks, and that's the conclusion that they reached, and they made a quick pivot to fill the hole.
To be clear, for those who weren't paying attention to it yesterday, I'm in no way suggesting this is what happened. I'm merely saying that what some people out there are positing is they were surprised that Trey Hendrickson might still have been available at the price that he was, and they looked at it and they said to themselves, maybe Trey Hendrickson and our 2 first-round picks are better for us than getting Max Crosby. Again, I'm not saying that's what they did. I'm saying that's what people out there are saying. And it would be within their rights to do it, is what you were saying, right?
Yeah, even if that is what happened, I mean, we know they were talking to Trey Hendrickson in the first place, so they had a sense of where that market was. But yeah, once the Crosby thing wasn't going to happen, they got aggressive.
Right. That's what I mean. That's when people say, well, what do you mean cold feet? They wanted to do the trade. That's what I mean when I say people are suggesting it. Go.
Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something.
Sure. Right.
But I do think that we have to reiterate the fact that passing or failing a physical is not as like cut and dry or binary as we make it seem. Yep. So the bar for which you had to pass Max Crosby for the physical, that bar can change if all of a sudden Trey Hendrickson is available for less than you anticipated. Like, I don't think that's insane. I'm not sure that that's the way people do business, but I think to the point that we made earlier, ain't nobody gonna stop calling. Like, if there's a deal that they think can help, maybe the Raiders. Eric DeCosta, you might be done doing deals with the Raiders for a few months. But the rest of the league, still open for business.
Yeah, absolutely. But you do business as being done.
Yeah.
Right? And this is what happens with the league calendar. You get to make these trades. The trades aren't official until the league year starts. And so whatever you do in between there is your business. And if I'm Eric DeCosta and I've had trouble with some picks, I've had trouble with some free agent acquisitions, and I'm sitting back and I'm looking, and maybe the doctor comes to me and he says, hey man, I think the knee will be good. I think he'll be ready to go in August. I can't be sure exactly how great he'll be. And then on the other phone, somebody's saying to you, say dog, we might be able to get Trey Hendrickson. And if we get Trey Hendrickson after we lose our center, after we lose a star, standout, physically gifted tight end, you can also have them first 2 picks. Maybe I should make this move. And like he says too, though, there is going to be no repercussion and consequence of this in the sense of doing business with other teams.
I think we have to reiterate how huge a deal this is. You have Lamar Jackson, who's playing in his prime. This is a Super Bowl decision. Like, whether if Max Crosby shows up and plays to the highest level, your chance of winning Super Bowl goes up. If he shows up and is not able to give you what you want, and you have 2 picks out the door, your chances of winning a Super Bowl hit the floor. Like, it's those type of decisions. It's a career-defining decision for Lamar Jackson and probably for Eric DeCosta, who's taken over from a Hall of Fame 2 times, should be Hall of Famer in Ozzie Newsome.
Yeah, and the price is the key thing here. Like, my understanding is the concern was not about can he make it back for this season and play well. It's about, like, well, how long can he play if this is the condition of his knee? And you're giving up 2 first-round picks. You're giving up 2 first-round picks. That's not for a player you're only going to have for 1 year. Like, you need to have that player as part of your future as well, or else it's not worth it.
Schefter, go.
There's a lot here. First of all, the Ravens can't come out and defend themselves because that would make Max Crosby look bad. So whatever they say, whatever they found out, they're not going to do that. They just simply said, we're not comfortable. Right. Now, again, the facts on Max Crosby's knee are his own doctor said yesterday that they did the surgery 8 weeks ago. They worked on the meniscus, the bone, and the cartilage. Those are key words there. He was on crutches for 7 weeks. He got off crutches 1 week ago. They're shooting to have him ready for opening day in 2026. We start going through all of this, and you start to say to yourself, this was a little bit more significant than just a meniscus repair. Beyond that, they discussed having this repair in October. Max Crosby wanted to wait because Max Crosby is a warrior. He fights through everything. He plays all out. That's why the Ravens were willing to give up 2 ones for him, because he's so tough. But when you do that, you do more damage to the knee and you set yourself back further in the future. And when the Ravens were making an investment this sizable, their doctors saw whatever they saw. We don't know what they saw, but it was enough to make them have pause and not follow through on the trade.
The other thing is this too, though. If I see a house, right, and it's online, and I talk to the realtor, and I go before I say I'm willing to offer this for the house, and then I get there and it's a damn fixer-upper, it's going to change my offer. I might get cold feet. I might say to myself, okay, we can't go through with what we thought we had, and so that's okay. And so with Eric DeCosta, whether he doesn't want to say he got cold feet or whether he wants to say he's gutted, now you have Trey Hendrickson, who I think is getting missed in all of this. This dude had 35 sacks in 23 and 24. He's a top-notch player. You get to keep both of those first-round picks, and you saw something in Max Crosby's physical that made you uncomfortable.
Whether there was anything wrong with what they did or not, the question is this: are they better off? Are the Ravens better off now with Hendrickson and the 2 firsts than they would have been with Crosby and no firsts?
The problem with answering that question is I don't have the information they have on their knee. I think they're better off with a fully healthy Max Crosby than any of this.
For 1 year. For 1 year. The point Cross is making is it might only be for a year or 2.
No. I think with what we expect of Max Crosby, they would be better if they had him healthy for a couple of seasons.
Fair.
If they feel like they can't have that, then they're better off now with these picks.
This is a reminder to everyone. The next time you are asked to approve the terms and conditions on an app before you download it, read them. Because Graz and Schefter have been saying over and over again, none of these deals are official until Wednesday at 4 o'clock, and we never pay attention. But the reality is they're not. They're not official. And so the Ravens have been, were, and will forever continue to be within their rights.
And this is also not the first trade.